everyone, and welcome to the next episode of the Best of 3 Call of Duty Esports Podcast. I am your host, one of 3, Josh, SalvationsElite. To my right, Bash, BO3, Sam, and between us, as always, is Rex, ShadyNero. And boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we've got another crazy podcast. Obviously, just tons of topics. Sam, Rex, how's it going?
Oh my goodness, Josh. I am flying through the skies, looking at hippopotamuses with wings. Like, it's so ethereal. It's I don't know, it's unreal.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Wow.
I can imagine. Sam, how you doing?
Good. Doing good.
Are you seeing hippos?
I'm not seeing hippos.
Okay. All right. Just have to check.
I'm seeing a SalvationsElite.
Oh,
Even
that's
better.
one hippo. That's one. All right, so you got one. No wings over here, unfortunately. But, man, CDL Atlanta, my bad. CDL Atlanta was, of course, a crazy event. I mean, a lot of unexpected results at the event. And obviously, the Rokkr and the Mutineers led that charge. And really, overall, really fun event. Of course, I was there, and interestingly enough, the crowd was a little bit smaller than I would have expected. Atlanta didn't show up as much as I would like to see Atlanta. Where are you guys at? Come on, man.
Dude,
and
can we just talk about the crowd for a second?
Yes.
Like, the crowd, like, you have the best team in the game. You're in Atlanta, like a huge city, and Minnesota's crowd beat you. Like,
I was very shocked.
it was like, what? But I almost want to blame the marketing with the org and everything behind it, because I don't remember FaZe, like, I just feel like I didn't really hear about that it was happening almost, other than like
the Rokkr did tons of like hand-to-hand combat in Minnesota, like going on radio shows and talking and talk shows and local advertising. I talked to a few guys from Atlanta. They said they saw some like posters and stuff or like billboards, but didn't really like see any like local advertising when it comes to like getting their personalities out there. So
yeah, it just felt like there was no heart behind it, and it was just so like lackluster. It's like, especially when you're FaZe and you have the best, you know, one of the best teams in the game. Like, it's just could have been.
I agree.
Way better.
I agree. It wasn't ideal, but at the same time, like first event in the city, I'll give it some slack. I'm sure it won't be the worst event out of all of them this year.
Probably not.
So
we'll see.
with that said, of course, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and of course on YouTube if you aren't already. We appreciate all that. And of course, drop a comment down below or rate us on Apple Podcasts. Of course, we always appreciate those 5-star reviews. And we'll be reading some of them in the upcoming podcast. So make sure to drop those reviews,
spicy.
baby. Very spicy. And of course, you can follow us on Twitter at SalvationsElite for myself, Bash_BO3 on Twitter, and ShadyNero on Twitter as well. So, little fantasy update, of course. Unfortunately, Sam took me down thanks to OpTic costing me.
Well, OpTic's, we've been saying OpTic's been
OpTic
bad from the beginning.
Slasher and Kenny let me down.
Unfortunate.
And Rex, of course, was playing the bench squad.
Better one.
The Paris squad, but you know they don't have a full roster, so Rex took that one home.
I didn't have a full roster either, actually. If I played either of you guys, I would have lost. Because I had so many people who were on a bye week.
Let's make sure you get that out there, because that's exactly true. So, interestingly enough, I mean, we'll keep you guys updated on that as going through. With that said, finally, if you guys are still here, we're going to start. Segment 1 is going to be about the CDL Atlanta like breakdown. And we're going to go team by team and talk about their situations. And then we're going to go through the power rankings and then some overarching questions to wrap up the podcast, looking forward a little bit. It should be pretty good, so I'm really excited. So with that said, let's just hop in team by team. And why not? Let's just start with Paris, and we can go down the list here because, you know, we're going to go through all 8 and talk about their situations. So Paris, obviously not an ideal situation for him. Our predictions last week didn't go as planned.
No,
we all had
pretty bad.
We all actually had Paris going through, which only one of us, which was shout out to Sam, had the Rokkr and Paris splitting the matches. Unfortunately, you didn't get that one right.
No,
both ways. But Paris, you know, what are you guys' thoughts on Paris right now? Obviously, they lost to the Rokkr twice. They beat Toronto in a somewhat decent way, in a somewhat close series, I guess.
Right.
Rex, where are you at with Paris right now after kind of like the Rokkr beatdowns?
I think Rokkr had a good event. I feel like Paris. I don't know if they had a bad event, but were they playing average? Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think Rokkr were just playing really well.
yeah.
Okay.
I think it's hard to deny Kismet's stats. Over the
Yikes.
weekend.
Yikes.
Just going over brief overall. He was minus 78 plus minus, which is overall kills minus overall
Kills
deaths.
minus deaths, and he was minus 78.
Do you think it's gonna
0.75.
stay that bad though?
No, and that's my point. Is I think Kismet had a terrible.
The question
event.
is, was it fluky or is this going to be the norm from here on out?
Yeah, and like I think we don't know that yet because he had a good event in London, right? Terrible event this time. So which one's the real Kismet?
Right.
We don't know. But yeah, no, I think it's hard to deny his stats. But I just don't see Kismet being this bad all year long.
No.
Personally. But yeah, no, I think you're right there, Rex. Is that Rokkr had a really good event, and I think Paris had a very bad event.
You think they had a bad event? I don't even know if Paris had a bad event.
Maybe
like,
not bad.
Oh, come on, they had a bad event.
You think they played worse than what they should be doing?
I think so.
I mean, I think so. Unless you're gonna say Rocker's the third best team in the league. And in that
here's the
situation,
thing:
then
was
maybe
Rocker's
they
thing
didn't.
was Rokkr being that good a fluke?
Right? Was Rokkr that good, or was it Paris being that bad?
Right. I think Paris, like, they did not play terrible in my opinion, as like to where they were. Obviously, Kismet did really bad, but I think Dens showed up really well, and I think Dens is going to end up being really good as the season goes along.
Yeah, I mean,
I think Paris has the potential to get
that means
better.
you have, but if you have that opinion, you have to believe then that Rokkr is probably the third best team or the fourth best team for sure.
I mean,
I mean, isn't
I think Paris can get
unreasonable
better,
argument?
and I think Paris can possibly be better than the Rokkr.
Okay, I just think the search
Can
and
get
destroy,
there. Like, they might not be there now, but I think they have the potential to grow to there.
I'm still not confident in Paris's search and destroy play. I think that's a real problem. And like they've looked, I would say, good in hardpoint overall. I mean, their first series against the Rokkr was close in both hardpoints. They beat them 250-211 on Gunrunner, then lost 250-206 on Cave. And then in their rematch, it was like a pretty similar story. And so it's like they lost 250-152 in Gunrunner, which they flipped there, and then they beat them 250-233 on Cave. So I'm just not convinced. But then the searches again, they won 6-3 on Petro, which they had lost Petro in the first series. Then they got 6-0 on Gunrunner, and we saw in the last event that Legion struggled in the search category, and that's where they had their weaknesses. In my opinion, they dropped pretty far down the power rankings, which we're going to talk about officially in the next segment. So I am a little bit. I'm interested to see what happens with Paris, but I'm not sold on them as a team now.
One
I
of the
believe in
things
them.
is, one of the things is like when you look at, teams is there one person on Paris that you see can change the map, right? Like on Rokkr, you have GodRx,
Zed.
being
Or no, I mean,
amazing.
not Zed.
Dens.
Dens, I mean.
That's the argument, would be Dens.
And then I think Kismet can also show up. He had a bad event, but I think he can show up.
as much as like a GodRx could do. Like, do you think Kismet?
I think Dens possibly could. I think
Dens.
Paris has weak players who I'm not sure about that will hold like Dens back or something. But
in S&D at London, Kismet had a 0.8, Luke had a 0.61, Shox had a 0.5, Zed had a 0.85, Dens had a 1.46.
There you go.
But S&D was definitely a problem for them in London. So I think, okay, let's just go straight into the Rokkr conversation then, because we kind of already been hinting on it already.
Yeah.
So like with Rokkr, again, they beat Paris twice.
Yeah.
Then they get knocked down to the losers bracket, quote unquote, after they beat Paris the first time by the Huntsmen,
right?
which knocked them down to play the Legion again.
Yeah.
And then they got eliminated by FaZe in a reverse sweep in the semifinals.
Yeah.
Like the Rokkr pushed FaZe to the brink.
2-0 up against FaZe, which was insane. Because then you gotta look at, well, was it just because FaZe just was tanky in the first two maps? Was it really Rokkr being that much better than FaZe, or was it FaZe's players just not performing well?
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think it was FaZe's players not performing well. We can throw that up for discussion, obviously.
Yeah.
But the reason why I think that is just because when you look at the next 3 maps, they just took over. Like they looked like a whole different team from map 2 to map 3. They just turned on the jets. I don't know if that was just they were just cold, what it was, but not to take anything away from Rokkr. My personal belief is that FaZe is in its own world of just amazingness. but yeah, no, I think Rokkr looked really good. But it's weird, like you have them losing to Huntsmen 3-1, but then I'm kind of getting weird here.
Yeah.
But because then Huntsmen lose to Florida 3-2, and Huntsmen almost lose to Toronto, so it's just it's weird.
Right. No, okay. The biggest thing with Rokkr was coming into the event. Why we really, I think, underestimated them was because we had only seen them play the Guerillas, and Toronto, coming into the event. So we were like, okay. I mean, they didn't dominate them, so it's like, okay, so how good are they actually? But apparently, they're like 2.5 weeks off, 3 weeks off. Helped. Yeah. And I mean, going back to the hard point against FaZe, especially those first 2 maps, really interesting because I feel like, first of all, they beat them 6-2 on Piccadilly Search. That's against FaZe. That's a feat in itself.
Yeah, that's weird. That's a weird.
And then you played them on Hackney, which FaZe has looked incredible on Hackney this year, and they beat them 250-11 or 250-211. 250-211, which was a pretty impressive game. Like Assault went 26-16 on that map, and Major Maniac went 14-22 on that map. So like the AR battle there went heavily in Assault's favor, and like generally on that map the AR is playing the objective, and it's like Assault had 109 seconds in the hill, big time plays from Assault there on the as a whole. So like I don't know, statistically, like GodRx and Rokkr did what they needed to do and like played good search and destroy, played a good hard point, and like looked like a legitimately great team. And then the walls came crashing down. Yeah. It started with the Hackney Dom. I mean, good luck beating FaZe 3-0. Like I don't know if FaZe is gonna lose 3-0 once this year.
Mm-hmm. What's really interesting though too is I don't know if you guys thought the same thing on that Hackney domination map, which was map 3, correct? Yeah. The first half was Rokkr playing really well, and then all of a sudden FaZe at the end of the first segment started turning up out of nowhere, and in the second half they just took over.
Do you know what side they started on? I can't remember.
I do not know. I would not be able to,
because obviously the A side's so much better on Hackney.
That A/B setup.
Yeah. So I just don't know if that was. I can't remember.
But I was like watching the first half of the first half. That sounds stupid, but I was convinced Rokkr's going to take this 3-0. But then FaZe just all of a sudden just snapped back into reality, took over, and then from there obviously they took over.
They Thanos that.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but yeah, no, I thought that was very interesting that FaZe looked beatable. They looked human, right?
Yeah.
They were all powerful, but Rokkr is a solid team, and are they a top 4 team right now?
We will talk about that.
So
in a second.
Do you think FaZe is just after underestimating them though? And then
after
FaZe is like, whoa, we actually have to play the
Huntsman
game, and then they just decide to destroy them after that?
That's the Huntsman argument. I mean, I hate using that argument because it feels like a cop-out, but at the same time, like, it might be the truth.
Yeah.
Like,
well, especially with that FaZe team, it's like the way they turned it around was just like kind of crazy. It was like,
like, oh wow, they're real. We need to try. Like, that's literally what it felt like almost,
Yeah.
And some teams are able to turn it on, and it's like some teams aren't, and I just that's why it was just really surprising to me. At the same time, though, it's like, I don't know, man. The Rokkr might have unlocked something.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah,
and that's why I'm really interested to see what happens, because it's just crazy considering they lost to the Huntsmen, and then the whole how it all goes down for them.
Mm-hmm. Who do you think is the weakest link on that team?
On the Rokkr?
Yes.
Silly.
I should say, do you think it's Silly?
I think it might
probably.
be
probably Silly.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because I really like Silly.
I
It
do
is
too.
kind of weird. Yeah, I think he's a solid player, but to me, I would not have thought Silly would have been the weakest link on this roster when they first formed. Truly, I would not have.
No. Because you would have been looking like maybe like Alex or Assault.
Assault, probably. Yeah, but they've been playing well. But
yeah, Alex really turned up too. I was really impressed with Alex throughout.
He was
the
a good
whole
pickup.
event. Yeah, like I think he had a 1.14 on the event. Like GodRx at a 1.26 again, and GodRx at a plus 75 plus minus. Alex at a plus 44 and Assault at a plus 43. Those are huge numbers.
Yeah,
like that's all top 6, 7 at the event. So like overall, man, like that roster looking nasty. I mean, yeah, Silly at a minus 44, a Sim at a minus 35. So you can tell who had the good events and who didn't. But at points, a Sim like took over, like especially in Search and Destroy. Silly never really had that moment throughout the series. So at least at this tournament, Silly definitely was like the one that held them back. But at the same time, like, you know, unless you go back and watch each VOD, like that's why stats can be deceiving because like Silly may have been making the sacrificing, getting the assists. Like that's where, you know, okay, well, maybe he was making those things happen and why he had the stats he had. So I agree though. Probably if you're pointing at one guy, it's probably Silly. Yeah. So all right, I guess that can knock us down to our next team, which let's go with
should we go to FaZe since we talked about, or do you want to save that one for later?
Ooh. How about we go to London? Let's go to London.
Okay.
Take us to the other side.
Let's do it.
Where are you guys at with this team? I mean, again, this tournament with how it set up the matchups, I mean, London ended up getting knocked out by the team who finished second.
Mm-hmm.
And they like,
which was the
but they also
Mutineers. But it's like, yeah,
they 3-1 them to start.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. Like that's what is just mind blowing. So their 2 losses came to FaZe and Florida. But they beat Florida.
3-1.
So where are you guys at with this, Rex? Where are you at with the Ravens?
Dude, I mean, I had them going to be like in that single elimination bracket. I thought London was gonna be like a good team, and then the Mutineers beat them, and I had Mutineers a little bit lower, and it's really hard to say. I don't know. I think they can be good. I think there's some sort of consistency issue in there, like something's not meshing where it should be.
Every map.
Yeah, because the talent is there, but there's just something going on internally that just like doesn't make sense.
That first matchup wasn't even close versus Florida. They blew them out in both.
Yeah.
Like Prestinni
blew them out and
Havoc got literally destroyed in that series.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, how does that happen? Where like when you see that first game, it looks like 2 different tiers of teams, right? London is way better than Florida, and then all of a sudden Florida's in the grand finals versus FaZe. Like what?
Yeah.
Like that just was weird. So yeah, I feel like the London's problem is just consistency. Like, do they just fizzle out over time? Do they start super hot and then get scared? Do they choke? I don't feel like these guys choke, but like at the same time, is why can't you count on them to pull it out on a Sunday? Like, what is happening?
I don't know. I guess we're just not good at pulling out.
All right.
All right.
Anyways, next team.
All right, guys, that's it for the podcast.
See you next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That rematch against the Mutineers is the anomaly, and it comes down to like it's hard to beat a team twice, and good teams can make adjustments and win rematches. And so like, is that what the Mutineers had there? Like, if they would have played a different team, any other team in that situation, would they come out on top? You know, like if they were playing literally anyone besides the Mutineers, would they have been better off? Maybe.
Maybe London underestimated them, and then
in the second
Mutineers
match
came with the fire. Like they have something to prove, you know.
Again, and like that was the thing. The Mutineers. Like, we can talk. I mean, we could probably talk about the Mutineers next since we're already talking about them so much. But like in that OpTic series, the Mutineers, in my opinion, caught fire. Like in that 4th hard point, like that was to put away OpTic and like Prestinni caught fire in that game. Like felt like it gave them confidence, which then sent them into the London match. And they won 250-154 against London in that first match. Like London really got smoked. And again, Wuskins looked like the man for London, which is, I mean, if you're Wuskins, great. But Dylan had a rough event overall for where you'd want to see Dylan, and like and Jerd definitely did. So it's like the SMG play just wasn't there, and like when you don't have SMG play in this game, you're not going to win very many matches. And so, like in your guys' opinion, like is this a fluke? Is this something to be worried about long term? Like where are you guys at with London?
I think for this team to be good, where they need to be, Dylan needs to be Dylan of last year.
Of Black Ops 4.
And we're not seeing, and we have not seen that yet. I don't know if that is this game is just not suited for him.
Yeah.
If you obviously preferred the cracked out gameplay of Black Ops 4.
You probably did.
Obviously, yeah, that's what we're seeing. But I think that's kind of where you're seeing maybe the reason why they're not performing well probably is just like you would have thought Dylan would have been this team's almost superstar.
He had a .88 at London, and he had a .97 here.
Yeah.
So that's not what you want to see if you're London.
Yeah, because last year in Black Ops 4, you were seeing Dylan basically change
a top 5 player.
Top 5 players changing the pace of maps, right? But here it's just it's not coming out, and
no.
I don't know if that's just if that will change over time. It's kind of hard to tell. Is he just not performing well? Is this game not good for him? I don't know. That can obviously be up for debate too. But I think that's kind of their X factor right now is if Dylan can actually play well or not. And like he's not playing terribly. It's just like he's not the Dylan that we knew coming into this game.
Right. He had a point. He had a 1.05 in hard points. Like, that's at least fine.
Yeah.
Jerd was the one who had the .88 in hard point. And again, we think London's a good hard point team. The biggest problem is whether or not they can pull it out in search, especially, and then Dom. And that's what ended up biting them in the butt in this tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, Rex, where are you at with them?
I mean, I'm pretty much along the same line. I feel like Dylan's kind of... He needs to pick it up. I mean, he's going against, like, every other sub. Every team seems to have, like, their one guy, like, sub guys just doing really well for them.
Yeah.
And London doesn't seem to have that. They have Wuskins, but he's playing the AR, and he's really good. But then you need that sub. You need those sub players that can move fast and get to the points and everything. So, yeah, I think it has to be on Dylan. Yeah. He needs to step up a little bit more and start competing with the other subs out there.
One crazy thing is Skrapz at a 1.67 in search, 35 kills and 21 deaths. When like normally he's known as the guy who is the problem in search.
Yeah. And
he was really the only one doing anything crazy in those matches. He had that one, what was that on Gunrunner where he just was going off. So, I mean, Skrapz, we know they have the power to be insane.
Absolutely.
And like we've seen, even like Rated at moments has looked great. Mm-hmm. Wuskins has looked incredible. At moments, Skrapz has looked great. And then at London, Dylan had his moments where he was like, okay, this is Dylan. But like it just isn't coming together for them map to map right now.
It's very frustrating.
Well, even Jerd too. Like I feel like he's not playing up to where Jerd should be.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I
like
completely
Jerd
agree.
used to be known as like this really good player, and then now he's kind of fallen to like this middle of the pack, and no one really thinks about him anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I still see them as a huge upside team that can like at some point, if they find that rhythm map to map, could be the third best team, and maybe legitimately compete against Atlanta and the Huntsmen.
That's the great thing is that like
they can put up a bigger fight than what they did for sure.
This is not their cap. Like they are far and above a better team. It's just can they figure it out?
I mean, again, their losses came to the two hottest teams of the tournament. Like it's hard to judge them off that, and I'm sure we'll see them back at it again.
I think
so.
Too.
All right, next team on the dock. We'll go straight to the Mutineers since we were already talking about them. Where are you guys at with this?
I feel like they probably learned a lot this tournament about themselves, and maybe they did find something
that unlocked.
They unlocked something.
Yeah.
But I think this might have been near the peak. I don't see them winning an event. ever.
Yeah.
But they're gonna be a little bit better now. But I think other teams can also catch up to them.
The thing that is just the OpTic Gaming match.
The first hard point, they get like legitimately blown out. I mean, they were lucky to have, how many points did they have?
250 to 139.
They were lucky to have 139 points because they got like
Mm-hmm.
that game was over. They got garbage time points like at the end too.
Yeah.
Like they were legitimately getting
Yeah.
smoked.
I mean, once their confidence is shook, like once they get a game where it's like their confidence is getting shaken, then that's when they're gonna fall down again, and then they're gonna stay low until they have another event like this where like they end up making this crazy comeback and winning, and then they're like, oh man, and they get all this confidence, and then they're gonna start winning.
Right.
But
I mean, they must have been on a high of highs after
Exactly.
that OpTic series because they won 6-5 in that Search and Destroy round 11, and then they had the most insane dom we're probably going to see all season with like the
Best
146,
dom game.
145.
Yep.
the only
on
sort of
Petro.
dom game we ever want to watch.
Yeah, the only good dom game we've ever seen.
Yeah.
But like, and then Prestinni finally found himself in that fourth hard point where they actually played really, really well against OpTic and put him away.
It's gonna be able to keep
And-
it up.
But that again was 250 to 231. Like
It was close.
This was not a close. Sorry, this was not a blowout by any means. This was not a blowout 3-1. So are we prepared to say that
And-
Florida is a top 2 team that
And
almost
look at
lost
the
to
OpTic KDs in that match in which it was close. Dashy had a 1.44, but outside that, Slasher 0.73, JCap 0.61, Kenny 0.74, Tej 0.84. So like literally, only one of them had above a 0.84, and they only lost by what 20 points. So like that just shows technical inability from
OpTic.
Florida. Like if you're not able to put away
I
a
see.
team when you're out slaying them like that, then you're having a legitimate problem.
Yeah.
And they outsplit him by probably over 20 kills and only beat him by like 20 points. And so that just straight up shows the problems that you're having as a team in Dom to like, make use of the kills that you're getting. And they're definitely that's where I'm scared about Florida is I don't think technically they're a good team. Something just clicked for them in this series, specifically against the Huntsmen, that caused them to be where caused them to beat the Huntsmen.
Even then, do you credit that to them being good or Huntsman falling short?
Coming in just completely flat.
Well,
Right.
Like,
Huntsman
that
was falling short, I think.
right. I mean, I think this is a natural segue to the
Mhm.
talk. I mean, we could probably finish up the conversation about Florida real quick here.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're Florida, like where are you looking towards in the future here? Like, what are your thoughts like moving in to these next few events? They do play in Los Angeles in 2 weeks, and they open up. Guess what? Against FaZe in the first match of the weekend. So I mean, if you're them, like, what are you looking at there? You know, where you're trying to dig out of that grave.
I guess you're just looking at these VODs and looking at what clicked for them and then trying to replicate that. Because
Yeah.
that's the only thing you can do at this point.
Well, you got to see where you're playing bad too. 'Cause like with the OpTic
Absolutely.
game, where it's like they won, but it's like you should have won by
Barely.
way more than
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So
That's the thing.
definitely looking at those things, and yeah,
Like, just if they're scraping by OpTic and like it feels like they're playing well, like what would it take for them to beat FaZe? But then somehow they beat the Huntsmen.
then
So-
they beat the Huntsmen.
Okay, let's talk about the Huntsmen Mutineers to end out this conversation about the Mutineers.
Yeah.
What in your opinion happened this series? It can be on the Huntsman side, it can be on the Mutineer side. The first hard point was incredibly close, 250, 241.
Yep.
Huntsman took it.
Mhm.
Then the Huntsman took 6-4 on Arclov. So Ozzy or Cave was for map 1, Ozzy and then Arclov was map 2. Then on Petro, which the Mutineers looked really good on all weekend, they beat the Huntsman. Then
Pretty
it came
handily,
down
too.
to a Hackney again, where the Mutineers took them out, and then 6-2'd on Gunrunner to eliminate the Huntsman. Where are you guys at with the series, Rex?
Huntsman's mindset, something like, well, I mean, like everyone's tweeting about it, and like they just were playing bad. No one's brain, like mental, was there, and I honestly believe that's pretty much true. It's just like they just weren't in it. So I think I feel like that's a decent big reason of why they probably lost that. And and like it's just like they didn't have that drive to like, I guess, figure it out in the middle of the series. So, and plus, and then then Florida's riding this high. They have nothing to lose, and they just beat this OpTic team. They just beat these, and then now they beat Huntsmen, and then they beat them again. It's like they start riding this high. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the things too is when we see Huntsman being amazing, we were seeing Envoy being really good too. During this, look at the box score of the Huntsman versus Florida, Envoy kind of tanked. Domination, he was
good in hardpoint though.
23-24. Hardpoint, he was 19-26.
Wait.
On that second hardpoint versus Florida.
Oh, on the second hardpoint. I was thinking the first hardpoint.
Yeah, second hardpoint. Then that search, he was 8-6. So good in search. Or
to be fair though, the second hardpoint, gunless as well.
No, absolutely. I'm just saying like, Envoy has been.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah. Envoy was incredible in London.
Yes, correct. Yeah. So I think like, do you obviously like one person shouldn't change a whole team, right?
If they were handing out an MVP trophy, he would have won the MVP at
correct.
London.
So maybe you count London as just like maybe that was his best play, and like now we're starting to see him leveling down.
I don't know about that though, because I mean, like last year Envoy was a top 5 player. So it's like we know that he has this ceiling consistently. Mm-hmm. Something legitimately wasn't clicking with Chicago as a team, which is just so weird coming off an event where they were so good. And like, is this a here we go again moment? Is this a here we go again moment for Scump and his teams? Because
they can only beat good teams.
And they can only be good at the beginning of the year. I don't really want to go there yet. It's the second event. Like, come on. Like, it's hard to go there yet. Mm-hmm. But I mean, they won the first event last year. They won the first event this year, and they didn't win. They didn't win another event last year. Mm-hmm. But like, this is a whole different team with a whole different world of players. Yeah. I fully expect them to rebound.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I think Gunless might be the only like kind of like he has a temper on the team, right?
Yeah.
And so like you want to make sure that he's not going to be fragile if you would whatever.
Like just put himself in a box.
Exactly. So but
he does. Yeah, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, like you said, I don't think this one loss, not even loss, right? They just they just didn't make it to the grand finals. I don't think this is going to tank them. I think it was just
Side note, shout out to Skies, because he like legitimately got the best of Formal throughout that whole series. Ripped for Formal, man. Skies looked great. Well. Skies looked fantastic. Really and like, this was the Skies that we saw at points last year, and like that was the Skies that Formal was hoping he picked up last year on LG. Yeah. It seemed like once Skies joined LG, we never really saw Skies that we'd seen previously, but this was the Skies that people were hoping to see when Florida picked him up, and he played the main AR role as well as anyone. He looked like Gunless at point, or he looked like Octane at points out there, controlling the map like he did, and playing the objective like he did in some of these hard points. And so I just wanted to give a little bit of a shout out, because if somehow the Mutineers would have won, he would have for sure been the MVP. So
I think all of his TikToks probably helped him.
It's the TikToks. It's what it is. It's the power of the TikToks.
Must be.
Oh my word, that's what it is. Yo, Envoy, hop on TikTok.
If I see Envoy on TikTok, I'm talking.
There'll just be this new trend of just COD TikTokers. Imagine. But wow. All right, yeah. So okay, let's officially transition to Huntsman. We've already been hinting at it already, so why not fully transition? Yeah. Where are you guys at with Huntsman at this point? Obviously, I mean, okay, they snuck by Toronto. I mean, it was terrifyingly close.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Terrifyingly close in that first match. And then they beat the Rokkr, which you're like, okay, good. They beat the Rokkr again. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't by any means dominant when they beat the Rokkr, but they beat them. And then, unfortunately, they get knocked out by the Mutineers in this series. So when you think of the Huntsmen, what are you thinking right now as a team? What was the issue in your guys' opinion? What was the biggest issue in your opinion, Rex?
I feel like I wonder if they're going to start like stagnating. Like, do you think the Huntsmen are gonna improve, and do they have a higher cap than where they're at now? Because other teams, I feel like, have a high cap that they can reach, and I'm not so sure how far Huntsmen can go with their skill cap. Like, can they get better? Like, a lot better? Because maybe that's what's happening, is that they're kind of just stagnating at just being good, but these other teams have the potential to get better. They just need more time to get there.
Right.
I'm of the opinion of we are seeing them at like a very high, maybe each individually high level, players. They each know how to play the game, right? They know how to play the game. They're good. I do think there's room for improvement as a team play.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Like we might not see them get individually better. Like
Right.
I think it's hard to deny that we're not seeing them individually at probably their highest level, but as a team and their strats and their setups, I think we're going to see them get better at that.
Okay.
And obviously like their search and stuff. That's what I would say. But I think you're right though. Like with like each one, I don't think we're going to see them get like exponentially better in skill level. If that made any sense.
Right.
But
Yeah. Rex, where are you at?
I mean,
you already kind of gave your opinion.
yeah, I kind of gave my opinion.
But yeah,
I think I
no,
will say that.
That's an interesting point you put up though with the ceiling. I think it goes back to like how you think about this roster in comparison to past OpTic rosters, and it really does. I mean, like we already kind of talked about it already, but
yeah, I feel like Huntsman did play bad, like worse than what they should
I
have
agree.
played. But I am questioning how much better they're gonna get from like London, let's say. Like how much better are they actually gonna get?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch the VODs before our next podcast because I really need to. I don't know why they played bad, and like I'm gonna go watch that Mutineers series again because legitimately there's issues there. Like their team, so true engagement success is a stat where it's like how many of your deaths or how many of your engagements turn into either kills or assists, and like all of them were solid in that category. None of them were bad. Shout out to Weskins, by the way, because he led the event with 66% of his engagements turned into either kills or assists, which is crazy.
Interesting.
And we'll talk about LA OpTic in a second here. Yikes. But, I mean, usually the stat shows, like, the success of, like, really good team play, because if you're trading your kills well, you're going to win matches.
Yeah.
And, like, FaZe, Shokkr was good, and all of them were good. Shocker. But, like, that's why it's hard to pin, like, necessarily where they were bad. And, like, it didn't seem like any game mode specifically stuck out where, like, in the past we saw, okay, S&D was the Huntsman's worst game mode. Or, like, okay, Dom was good. Like, this series and this event, it didn't feel like that was the case. Where they were pretty average in all game modes, and like we're losing to specific teams for different reasons. And so that's why I just legitimately, their loss to the Mutineers is such an enigma. Yeah. I'm really, really interested to go dig into that one because, like, what in the world? The only, like, legitimately your only excuse, like what you guys talked about, was like the mental aspect. It feels like the only real excuse. Like, yeah, we just thought they sucked. Yeah. Like that feels like the only real excuse. So
yeah, and I know it's kind of a meme too to be like the Chicago Huntsman stands of like, you know, protecting them, that like, oh, it's just because they played bad, right? Like I don't want to take away anything from these teams that played well,
right? But
it's hard to deny what we saw in London from Huntsman versus what we saw this weekend. It was two different teams. Like they were not playing very well. I think it's hard to deny that, but I don't want to put that out there just because I know that people are probably going to roast us a little bit for trying to protect Huntsman. We're not protecting Huntsman. It's just hard to deny that they played pretty bad this event.
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, it's like there's an argument there, you know? I mean, okay, sure. They beat the Guerillas, then they beat Dallas, then they beat Paris. Yeah, they beat Paris in a reverse sweep, right? In London. And then they beat Dallas again. So there is a world where you could just argue that Dallas isn't that good, and then they pulled one out in a close one against Paris, and then they won the event. It's like, you could argue that, you know? So I think the jury's still out on how good
the Huntsmen are.
Yeah.
And like when you struggle against Paris, or when you struggle against Toronto, and you're barely eking it out against the Rokkr, and then you lose to the Mutineers, there is no argument right now, in my opinion, that the Huntsmen are like.
I mean, I feel like you can't really say Huntsman is in like a tier of their own with FaZe anymore.
Ooh, that's a question we're going to talk about later,
Okay.
I think.
I'll save it.
Yeah, we'll save that one for a second then. But yeah, I agree. So, okay. Wow, we're flying through. This is thick stuff. Okay, what teams have we talked about? FaZe, OpTic, and Toronto.
OpTic, Toronto.
Toronto. Okay.
All right, let's talk about OpTic. Yeah. OpTic Gaming.
Get rid of JCap. All right, next.
Since we already covered like we have already covered like their Mutineers game, which I do want to highlight because like they were legitimately so close in that map to beating the team that came in second, and like I still think there's upside for this roster.
There's tremendous upside.
I mean, forever hopeful that this roster turns around.
I mean, yeah.
The real question at the end of the day is JCap and Tej. And once again, they had bad events. I mean, Kenny and Slasher didn't have good events either. Dashy was the only one, once again, that looked like he's officially a good player. Right. The other guys, the jury's again still out on those guys. So I think for them to get better, they're the only team in CDL that doesn't have a win at this point. Obviously, JCap's the first guy. Rex, where are you at with this roster, and like, what would it take for them to rebound?
I think JCap is. I don't think JCap cares anymore. And I've been saying that. I feel like he's just not into COD like he used to be, and he needs to be replaced. And there's definitely players out there that could take his place, be better, and I think they would just be a better team almost immediately.
Yeah.
Tej. I don't know about Tej. I don't want to say he's completely chalked, but I feel like he has a potential to get better. But I think the real problem is just like the team. There's no sense of like chemistry between that team. Like I don't feel like any of them. They don't hate each other, but they don't really like each other a lot either. They're trying to and they just play and they get off and they just don't talk to each other until the next scrim. Like it's just like. It's weird in that I feel like the chemistry just isn't there with that team.
Okay, let's hone in on Tej for a second, because like the question comes up: did Tej's role on OpTic in Black Ops 4 like inflate our opinion of him as a player, or like give us the wrong opinion of him as a player, or is it just specifically isolating him in Modern Warfare? Modern Warfare just isn't his game, or is it the role that he's playing currently on OpTic? What is it about Tej right now that is the way he is? Like why? Like Sam, what's your thought on Tej?
I think we're talking about this before. Going back to World War II, I think it was undeniable
on Rise
that he was a very good player. You know, he was very solid.
Vital to that team.
Vital to the team. Moving into Black Ops 4, joins OpTic. He plays a role where it's easy for him to shine, right?
Machine.
He's a war machine.
And he's also on OpTic.
Yeah.
And he has the fans behind him.
So maybe you can say that he was a little inflated, but I don't think that can take away from his individual skill level. I don't know. To me,
it's really tough.
To me, it feels like there, like you were saying, Rex, like there's a mood switch, like almost like his time in OpTic made him like less caring of competitive Call of Duty, and then like going into this game, like do you see any tweets from these guys after these events, like saying that they want to like improve? I didn't see anything from anyone.
Care.
Like
they don't.
Yeah, like you see Arcitys like
crying on main stage,
almost make it to grand finals and crying because he didn't make it. But then like when these guys haven't won a game, where's their like passion? Where's their whatever? Like all we're seeing is complaints about the game itself.
Yeah,
and that's not gonna help anything. So
right.
Do you see these? I mean, do you see this roster at all? Like with a change, do you see them even caring enough to change anything?
With the right person, I bet they could.
Yeah,
I feel like
I
the right
agree.
person has to bring that passion to them because none of them really have that passion. Maybe minus Slasher, but I feel like Slasher, it's not enough just on his own. And so it's like when you
Yeah.
have 4 other people who just don't care, it's like it's so hard to care when 4 of your other teammates don't care. Like,
Don't care.
why am I gonna try if you guys aren't
Yeah.
trying? You know?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Tej, before going into the year, I thought for sure he was at least a good player. I didn't know about great, but at least good. And now, like after these 2 events, though, in Modern Warfare, just judging him off of this, it's like, how can you say he's good?
I feel like he might be like a team dependent sort of player. So like for his
I
mental
hope
and his
he
game
is.
to be
A
there,
role.
he has to have the right people around him for him to excel. So like I feel like you could put Scump on a lot of teams and he's gonna do well. Formal on any team, he's gonna do formal thing. Tej
Yeah.
is different. He's a different breed where it's like he has to have the right
Environment.
for him to excel.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, his personality could definitely come off like that. And like, I don't know if Dashy and Kenny and JCap specifically are creating that environment of success.
Of course, JCap.
And like, and again, I mean, if you look at
Sorry, that's so
100, and if you look, gosh dang it.
I just don't think he cares.
I want to see a montage of Rex's just.
I just don't think I really just don't think JCap cares. Like, and it makes me mad because I feel like he can be good, but like his heart is not in it. I feel like he
what
wants
helps
to
his team?
retire.
Bringing in another Oak boy. Let's bring in a
Oh
neighbor.
my,
Oh.
yeah, all the Oak boys, they don't care. Like, they're more worried about partying. They're more worried about girls. They're more worried about all these other things.
What else, huh?
Which is fine, but like it
Oh,
takes your
man.
heart out of the game that like got you there, and it's like they're just kind of almost ignoring it. Like
We just haven't seen passion from these guys at all.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason for us to think otherwise.
It's nice to
that
see the
they
stream
care.
starting to come back, though.
Yeah.
Because it keeps them accountable,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
When it comes to a change itself, I mean, okay, let's talk about this. I talked about it in my video briefly. They play in their own event, obviously, 2 weeks from now. But then they don't play for like a month because they don't play, if
They're
correct me if
not
I'm wrong, in
Los
Dallas,
Angeles.
right?
Oh,
They don't play in Dallas.
Dallas, yeah.
So they don't play till Chicago. So they don't play again till April 4th. So they have a whole month
Just about a
off,
month.
basically.
Yeah.
After the LA event, you'd have to assume if they don't win a match in LA, there's no way. There's no way. They have to make a roster change.
Yeah.
Right?
they
because
need to
in their
pick up
group-
Pharaoh.
Pharaoh is a free agent right now.
Pharaoh is the
See that?
biggest free agent item that a team should pick up. There's a lot of teams that
Again.
can pick him up and just be better.
If they don't win an LA match, I mean, they might die. They might be dead. Like,
Just dead.
because they play the Guerillas.
Yeah.
And then they would play if they win that, they'd play the winner of Rokkr Surge.
You know,
I don't
in
think
Los
they're winning
Angeles,
against Guerillas.
Guerillas and OpTic are
There's no way
not gonna
they-
make it far. And it's their event, you know.
That's gonna be bad.
Like,
dude.
Well, they put them in the same group so that at least one of them has a decent chance to get out.
I
one
think
of them
they're gonna
has
be
to
the bottom
hopefully
two.
make it
Could be
out.
the bottom
Yeah,
two.
they could. Imagine, I mean,
It's gonna be
yeah,
a
'cause that
good
group is
crowd.
rough. Guerillas, LA, and Surge are all in that group.
Their homestand is gonna be so weird. Although I bet their homestand, I don't know if their homestand is gonna have a ton of like fans of those teams.
No. Yeah, that'll be interesting. I mean, you'd assume that FaZe fans would come out for that because all the FaZe guys are there already.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, you'll
You'd
get more
assume the
FaZe
FaZe guys
fans,
come
you'll get a
out.
lot of Huntsman fans. Like,
Yeah, Empire. Yeah, for sure. That'll be really interesting.
So what? The one good thing about OpTic is they are putting out good content, though.
Oh yeah, some good content.
It's
You
good
know,
content.
I
so
respect it.
Maybe that's where all their focus is going, is the content. Which
Well, I mean, they got
means
nothing else to focus on
So,
right now.
you gotta
yeah.
be good too. It makes it excels it so much more if you
Okay,
actually
who do
have
you
the
replace?
name.
Do you replace JCap first or do you replace Tej?
I think JCap.
Both. Do you say JCap,
JCap.
I
or
think
do you
Tej
just
still
go
could
full
do
send
something.
and replace both at the same time?
Tej has the higher
Has upside.
upside.
And he's young too. So
But do you think bringing in like a Pharaoh would really change any culture? Because I feel like he's a follower. Like he's not going to come in and change
Pharaoh?
culture.
I think Pharaoh is an independent mind, to be honest. I feel like Pharaoh does what Pharaoh does, and he's always going to do it. He could be a selfish player, but I think Dashy's a selfish player.
And like,
but it doesn't make them
that's
bad.
the 100T roster from last year. So that's Kenny, Slasher, and Pharaoh from last year, uniting with, then the OpTic duo from last year. So
what do you think about this? Parasite, Pharaoh for Enable, Tej.
Wait.
Enable. What did I say? Enable?
JCap and Tej?
JCap.
I don't know about Parasite.
Parasite and Slasher? Yo.
Parasite.
They're going to break out in fist fights.
I like Parasite. I want Parasite to get on a team.
Sumo wrestling.
But I don't know.
We're just roasting.
Joke. That was jokes.
Holy
I'm sorry,
crap.
guys. I'm sorry.
JCap, Parasite, get roasted, bro.
Pharaoh for sure, but
Actually, I like Parasite. He's chill.
Yeah, no, I think he's cool too.
I mean, Parasite here. I mean, maybe you're right. Parasite does have that passion. So if you have Pharaoh for Tej, Parasite for
I just think
JCap. I feel like Parasite could be better than JCap. Actually, I do think Parasite is better than JCap.
It would never work because Slasher. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with you there. But the passion would be higher.
I just feel like you need to bring in a guy that's going to be a culture changer. If that's because I feel like that actually might be the problem. So I don't know. And at the same time, JCap just isn't a playmaker, and you need that in this game at this point.
Octane, JCap.
Well, yeah, that would do the trick. I think. Yeah, that would be probably pretty good. I'd say.
You never know.
Octane can go anywhere.
Leave his team.
I know. Could you imagine
if Octane's fed up? You never know. No, he would never.
I need someone like Clayster on that, like someone who just has that internal passion.
This is gonna go on a tangent here, but like. In a world of franchising, how do you get traded? Like, you just have to say, I'm literally not going to play. Like, I won't show up.
What?
Yeah.
Like, what do you say? Like, if you want to get traded, if you're just pissed. Like, let's say you're Dashy, and you're like, yo, I am done with OpTic Gaming. Like, what do you say? I'm just not going to show up? Like, do you just hold out like an NFL player with a training camp? I bet you get fined
really hard for that.
Yeah, I'm sure you would, right?
Is there, like, a clause where it's like...
I don't know.
They have to trade you if you want to. Like, can you make that in your contract where you're like, I don't know.
It probably depends on the contract.
I'm sure there maybe, but I bet no org actually would.
These are the types of things I'm just really interested to see how these trades end up going down. I'm sure we'll see a lot of it in that free time between the OpTic event. So with that said, finally we're so behind here.
Yes.
But let's go on to FaZe real quick. I mean, FaZe is. Honestly, do we just want to transition straight into our power rankings talk, which we'll talk about FaZe in our power rankings talk?
I think so.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so let's transition to the segment 2, which is our power rankings talk. Let's start off with FaZe then, because they won the event. I think we're going to all unanimously say they're the number 1 team.
Yes. Yep.
FaZe number 1.
For FaZe right now, do you have any worries about FaZe moving forward? Is there a world where who's a threat to FaZe? Or what's the threat to FaZe at this point in your guys' mind? Rex?
I mean, I could see Huntsmen being a threat to FaZe. I mean, clearly Rokkr and Mutineers were. Do I think FaZe could keep beating them? Yes. I think FaZe is really good. I think FaZe is the best team right now out there. I think the only problem that FaZe could run into is that they're so good that they have nobody to get better with. So teams just have all this time to just practice against them, and FaZe isn't going to get much better from that practice, but these other teams are.
Maybe.
I mean, and they're going to learn how FaZe works, but FaZe is like, we already can beat you. So all you're doing is learning how to beat us.
At the same time, though, that was always the argument for other dynasties of the past, and specifically OpTic. No one ever caught them in the past.
I mean, that might happen with FaZe. FaZe could definitely
it's possible.
Find something where they keep excelling, they keep winning, and they keep getting better.
Yeah. Sam?
Yeah, the only thing I could see is I feel like we're seeing teams trying to play, when they play FaZe, they're trying to play like FaZe. They're trying to match their speed.
The Rokkr did it.
Yeah, like you see a lot of the keys to victory for the game field thing that pops up is don't play to FaZe's speed.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if a team figures out how to play slow to counteract their speed, I don't know how
it's so hard to do.
It'd be very hard in this game, right?
Especially on maps like Hack. You have to avoid maps, and then
this game very heavily favors that. That's basically my point is if a team is smart enough to somehow find that formula to beat them, then that's what it is. But right now, how do you say there is a weakness right now with FaZe? Yeah, they went down 2-0 against Rokkr, but Was it just because they just didn't think Rokkr would even put up a fight?
That's the thing. It's like if your FaZe, it's like, and the problem is with this meta with smokes, like you can close the gap anywhere with smokes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if you're trying to play long ball with FaZe and use these ARs, like maybe you like run 3 ARs on Gunrunner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well great. Now FaZe is gonna throw smoke, sprint in, and slay you. Like I just don't see a world where.
Yeah.
And it would take some, in my opinion, a meta change. I said this in the video, a meta change, or like some team comes out with just a whole new layer of strats and search that counter FaZe really well. Search would be the only thing I could see people countering FaZe with. In a world where like I don't see a world where FaZe is bad at hardpoint.
Because right now FaZe's weakness is domination, right? That's part
Dom's their weakest mode for sure.
Say.
Yeah.
So if you figure out a way to win the searches,
beat them in best of
Dom,
5s. Yeah,
maybe that's what it is, right?
And then, I mean, and at the end of the day, I can't even say that because they lost a hard point to Rokkr. So, and they've lost hard points. So at the end of the day, they're not invincible, but like it's just so hard on paper to see a world where they lose twice. They lose twice in a double limb. I just don't see that happening ever. And
do you think their adaptability is good, or do you think they just do what they do and they just keep winning with what they do? Do you think they actually can adapt? Because other teams, I think, will be able to, in a way, adapt to what they're doing and kind of figure out how they're playing.
Yeah.
But do you think
started
they
running
can
a
do that
double
to
AR
other
meta, which I mean, that shows they're changing up things. I mean, they weren't doing that earlier, and now they are. And we saw Cellium dominate with the AR in his hand all tournament.
Yeah.
And get the MVP. So I don't know. I think FaZe is really good. 100% number one.
Yeah.
So when it comes to power rankings, let's go by tiers. We'll talk about Toronto near the end of this tier ranking. Let's just say, let's go tier. We were going to split up into 4 tiers. Who's in your tier 1?
FaZe.
Rex?
That's it.
Just FaZe. Sam, do you agree?
I was just going to say FaZe. Huntsman.
Obviously, before the event, we would have said Huntsman and FaZe.
Huntsman struggled this event. They didn't. When you compare FaZe versus Huntsman,
man.
FaZe looks like just the team that can blow
all around.
Yeah,
they can blow.
I couldn't finish a sentence. Oh my word. Anyways,
they blow better than anyone.
In my opinion, I think FaZe is in their own league right now. When they turned the Jets on versus Rokkr in map 3, 4, and 5, it was just the way they were playing was just scary. Like there was. It was crazy.
It was like it's like in their minds, oh wow, we
should
lose.
Actually probably play this
Let's
game.
play.
Yeah, let's play. And then they just turn on the Jets, and Rokkr had no chance.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about that. Honestly,
okay, I agree. I think FaZe at this point they have to be in their own tier. So there might be a pretty big tier 2 then, or is it just Huntsman or would you say Huntsman's in their own tier as well?
I don't know
because I don't know if you can make that argument.
No. This is where it gets difficult.
I think there's more teams in tier 2 than just Huntsman.
Who you got?
Part of me wants to put Dallas in there. Yeah, they lost to them,
but at the same time,
but only if ILLeY and Shotzzy have improved
3 times. Yeah,
I don't know.
Which we can see in LA.
Event, we probably would have said Dallas is the 3rd team.
Yeah,
but now it's like I don't know about that.
No. Then do you put Rokkr in there and then with them?
I'll throw out mine first. Let's see what happens. Let's see where you guys land on this. I think I would say in tier 2, in no particular order. Let's just say tier 2 in no particular order. I'll put Huntsman, Rokkr, and Mutineers in tier 2, and London in tier 2.
No Dallas?
No Dallas and no Paris. Rex, where are you at?
I'm not ready to give up on Dallas like that. It's hard to say. We saw the one event from Dallas. I mean, we saw them in Minnesota, but they played the 2 best teams at the time also. And they got 2nd place in London. So I think Dallas can shock us going into LA because I mean Rokkr made huge improvements. So I mean I would put Rokkr in that tier 2. I would put Dallas in that tier 2. I
just don't know how you put Dallas in the same tier as Huntsman right now.
We've only seen them play one event, and I feel like
they did lose 3. I mean, they've lost 3 times to the Huntsman.
Yeah, only the Huntsmen.
I get that.
I'm thinking more of like the spacing, like
In a tier, you'd have Huntsman at
here
2.
and Dallas in a lower
At like
2,
6 or
right?
something.
Huntsman's probably the top of the 2s.
Yeah.
And then we'll go to the
That's-
rest.
That's what I'm going off.
Okay.
Is-
If you put it like that, then I can totally understand.
So, yeah. 1.5
Okay.
is Huntsman. And then 2 is Dallas, Rokkr, Minnesota.
No Florida?
Or I mean Mutineers. Rokkr and Mutineer.
Okay. All right. Sam?
I was gonna say Dallas, Huntsman, Rokkr.
Then Paris, London, and Florida are like the other 2 like really.
I don't know if I'm willing to put Florida in the same tier,
Oh, that's tough.
which is tough because I know
They
they beat
just
Huntsman.
beat the
I know they beat the
Huntsmen.
Huntsman. I know they did. But is that Huntsman at their best?
Man, that's giving a lot of credit. That's giving a lot of credit to the Huntsman.
I know.
You have to put Florida. Come on,
Yeah.
man. You gotta put Florida
All right.
too.
Florida's
I don't want to
in-
influence you too much.
No,
though.
no,
I
I know. Like
want
my-
you to be your own thinker here. But
my heart and gut don't want me to put Florida in there because I feel like this is
so fluky.
I feel like this is a fluke event. Sorry, Florida. I feel like this was a fluke for you guys because like you almost lost to OpTic.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. If we're going off of what we know now, Dallas, Florida, Rokkr, and Huntsman, tier 2.
Okay. All right. Tier 3. Rex, you got a tier 3 already?
Yeah, I got Paris.
That's tough for you to say.
Yeah, I know.
Paris
I like
in tier
Paris
3,
a lot.
man.
I wanted to put him in tier 2, but I don't think I can. I just can't.
Right.
London 2.5.
You're really cheating this rule system.
I honestly think that might be all I put in there.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Just who you said?
He just put Paris and London in 3.
Okay.
And then he's going to have a tier 4 at the bottom.
Okay, so you're done then?
Yeah.
I'm done.
Okay, I'm gonna say London, Paris, and I'm also gonna.
Were you gonna throw an
I'm
Ultra?
also-
Because I thought about throwing an Ultra.
No,
Really?
What?
I'm throwing in Subliners.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Because-
God! I didn't even. I totally forgot about them.
Yeah, no, I'm throwing in Subliners.
I need to see the teams.
I understand where they're at right now with how they've played, but I cannot put them on a tier 4. I
They're
know,
at least a little bit better.
I
like,
know
you
they'll be better.
Yeah,
No,
I agree.
Yeah, he's right. I'm with Sam. I want to put Subliners in there too. I totally forgot about that.
Okay. Yep. So for my tier 3, I'll have London, Paris, Dallas, and Subliners in my tier 3.
Yeah.
So that knocks us down to tier 4. I'll just throw mine out there. I mean, that's the last 4 are OpTic,
Ultra,
and Seattle and Guerillas.
Guerillas. Yeah, and that's what it is left for me.
Oh,
too,
I'm sorry.
right?
I had London in my tier 2. So my tier 3 is Paris, Dallas, and New York.
New York.
And then my tier 4 is those last 4.
I can't believe
Yeah,
you have
which-
London ahead of Dallas, dude. Like, I don't know.
Nah, I think that's really reasonable. I think that makes sense.
Maybe, but you really just just trust that event that much?
In this event, London didn't look that bad. It was just more that they played against a hot.
You don't think Dallas is
Mutineers
going
in
to
round 2.
improve though? You don't think Dallas is going to shock us in LA? They've had a lot of
Give me
time
London.
off to practice.
Give me London. I have them in the same tier. Or, no, I don't.
No, you have
But
Dallas
London's the
below
bottom
them.
of tier. London's the bottom of tier.
So London's 2.5. All right.
Love it to that.
Yeah, that's right.
Which-
So now that you audio listeners are completely confused, here, Sam, what are your bottom 4?
Yeah. So,
Or bottom tier?
bottom tier, OpTic Gaming, LA Guerillas, Seattle Surge, and Toronto Ultra.
Okay.
Which I think we'll have the same.
Hey, we
bottom.
all-
Yeah,
same.
same bottom tier.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah,
Surge has
Well, we have
potential
some-
for me to grow out of that though.
Well, we'll see.
almost beat the Huntsman. Sorry, did you say Surge or Ultra?
He said
I said
Surge. He
Surge.
said
Sorry,
Surge.
I thought you said the Ultra. My bad. Ultra almost beat the Huntsman.
Ultra beat the Huntsman.
Surge, yeah.
I can see any of these teams pretty much getting out of there. Maybe except Gorilla. But yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. But all right, well, we had a lot of questions for the end, but this is already getting long, so we'll end it here. We'll push those back for the Monday, the next week's episode, which actually it'll have to come out on Wednesday because I'm getting back from Paris Monday night. So I'm heading to Paris on Wednesday. So
got a traveler over here.
Yes, got back from Atlanta this afternoon. Now heading to Paris on Wednesday. So we're back to back real quick here. So we'll be back at it again next week. We appreciate you guys tuning in as always. I am Josh SalvationsElite. To my right is Sam BashBO3. And between us is ShadyNero. And we will see you in the next episode of the Best of Call of Duty Esports Podcast. Adios, boys.